Okay, so let's talk about inflows for Bitcoin potentially coming up soon. And we're going to talk about Mara stock. But because it is currently still the weekend, we will talk about Mara stock second. Just because everything from yesterday's video is still in play, there is no price action today. So there's no reason to jump straight into Mara just yet. But basically, guys, you guys already know September is normally a weak month for Bitcoin in a bull market, but due to recent macroeconomic data, it's just influencing the price to go up a bit. But we got to keep in mind that it's only September 20th. We got to see what how this unfolds a little bit more. We're up just about 7%. I refreshed this like probably 2 minutes before recording, so I mean, the price is still pretty much the same. But the thing is, regardless if September ends in red or green, the inflows for October are expected to be quite decent. So, at the end of the day, like how am I going to be approaching this, right? That's what I want to break down for you guys. So just remember everything in this video is just my own personal opinion. I am not telling anyone what to do. I'm just sharing what I am doing, and please do your own research and your own due diligence. But to get started, so you guys already know, if you're new, I'm gonna go over the bigger picture real quick. Just not like the real bigger picture. We all know in the bigger picture, Bitcoin's making higher highs and higher lows, but I'm talking about in the bigger picture as of the last couple months. So we topped out and we came down and we were looking for a bigger, just a big picture three wave move down with these red areas right here. Every red area is always an accumulation area for me. That's how I color code it. It's the same thing for Mara too. I'm gonna show you guys that in a moment. But basically, we had an opportunity to accumulate. We went up expecting the price to top out, and I gave you guys an area ahead of time to keep an eye on. I broke this down like a lot in a recent video. I forgot which one. But basically, we caught out a nice short-term top to let the price come down because at the time I said, hey, it was very unfortunate to see Bitcoin rally before breaking the point 0.5 retracement at 110.7k. So I was just, it was very likely that it doesn't have to always, but it tends to fill it. So I said, okay, if we go up higher, I used early structures to give you guys a fib extension, and that's exactly what the price topped out at. And then we had the opportunity to accumulate within these next red areas for price to rally up into an overall retracement in blue, which is just from all-time high down to the swing low down here, which allowed the price to actually break that point 0.5 retracement, and it also filled this value gap. We had three value gaps. The third one did not fill during this dip, and we finally had it now. So what we're looking at now is, so we have this purple area. If you guys are new, I use purple as short-term deep value. At this point, I don't expect the price to actually fill this area, but I do expect the price to show some short-term weakness. So basically, the idea there is that it doesn't have to, but in order to be very confident and to see a healthy setup to really set the bulls up for to lead the price to higher prices. At this time, like when we were down, like people down here, people thought like the bull market might have been over, but there wasn't any signs of that. Even back here, everyone thought it was everyone thought it was over, but there was no actual evidence of that happening. And a lot of these dips were actually very controlled. They weren't like crazy, just a bunch of red candles everywhere. But we had enough momentum to find support within the red and then go up higher into this blue retracement. And I give you guys an extension to show that, hey, the price is very likely that I can reach the 118k level, 0.618 retracement. That's where the median is for this extension area. So it was very likely, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw the price. The top is right here. It perfectly in line with that area. It maxed it out perfectly. So at this point, and then I showed you guys in a previous video, I think it was yesterday or something, just some trades I closed out now that we were in short-term premium. But to see, in order for me to want to get in Bitcoin in the long side, once again for a new short-term trade, I should say, it would be for the price to come down into this yellow area. This is simply just And you know what? I can even change it. I can change it to red because this is a new accumulation area for me for some short term longs. So basically, the idea here is that in order to see the price go up higher in a healthy way, we want to see this get factored in, which will be a simple retracement from the low to the current high, perfectly into resistance. And we're currently trading below the 120 moving average. We can see the RSI max itself out to the bottom side again soon, but as of right now, there is a little bit of a short-term support right here that's holding. So that's just something to keep an eye on. We don't have to come down into this area, but if we do break over this swing high right here, I will most likely just start to get back in because we can max out this area going up to 120K and then potentially test the higher value gap up here, roughly 123K or 122 to 123. And that's if we break over the swing high, it really opens the path up to that. But I am not here to be like hopeful or anything. If we break over this, then yeah, I'll start looking at some longs. But as of right now, because we are going lower, the price is struggling, at least at the moment, to break over the 120 moving average. And I mean, at that point, even this small rally already pushed the RSI over the 50. So I'm looking for lower prices. As simple as that. We have other value gaps here that can be filled. It would just be very healthy so far, like a bigger support. And this one's kind of messy because it depends how you want to look at it. But we are at that line, so we can easily break down lower. Just some short term weakness. I will be accumulating in this area from 111.3k to 114.2. That's where I want to start buying in some longs, and I'll probably buy aggressively because seeing the price actually maximize this resistance area, it makes it more probable that we will not visit purple deep discount unless there's some crazy like negative news in the macro economic world. As of right now, there's not. So seeing a nice higher low form in this area before we go up higher seems to be the best scenario, and that's why I'm being patient now. I'm not holding any short term trades over the weekend. I'm looking to see if price can come into this area potentially next week when the market's open, so then I can actually go ahead and buy some ETFs, some longs with IBIT and potentially BitU. But yeah, that's the idea for Bitcoin. I mean, I'm looking for higher prices, as you guys already know. The 1.236 extension on the bull market is 128,000. I am looking for the price to hit that soon, and it could absolutely hit it in October. But we got to see how the rest of this month plays out. If September is going to continue to actually hold as a weak month, we can see a sell-off showing weakness in the overall percentage for Bitcoin gains in for the month of September, and then we can just rally up from October. At least that's the view right now. That's my expectation. I'll keep you guys updated on that. So yeah, short-term weakness, but I'm still long overall. When it comes to Mara stock, yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing has changed from yesterday's video. But I want to cover it again and just repeat a lot of I want to summarize it for anyone that's new, but it's just a good reminder as well, even if you saw that video. So since earlier this year, we found a bottom. We accumulated in it with the idea that the price can hit this value gap up here before we see, and then take profit before we see another opportunity to accumulate. So it went straight up to that area, a little bit of fluctuations, but it went up nicely. And then we had another accumulation point, which is a simple retracement from the low to the high. And we had two chances to accumulate within it before the price went up into the next take profit extension area. I always, just like right now, I always give these areas ahead of time. So then what I kept saying, and then this will make sense in the short term, what I kept saying is, red is accumulation unless we have the uptrend broken, which is at this point, the uptrend will be invalidated. If we break below this trend right here, we haven't made a new high within at least this portion of the structure just yet. But 1345, if we break below that, it opens the pathway for lower prices, and then we can easily fill this gap very quickly. And this will be a very attractive buying opportunity underneath $10. But I kept saying, until that happens, the idea is that we have this accumulation area in red during this time where we consolidated in it. I kept making videos stressing how how great it is to be able to trade a sideways consolidation with a large percentage gap. Because we during this time, if you guys look back at any video during this time, basically we were looking at longs and shorts, with take profit being the support and resistance line. So we were just taking longs and shorts constantly, until we finally had a break of structure. And then I kept stressing the importance of SLs. So if the SL was triggered, that's fine. Like, it would have been a very, very small price to pay for that insurance when we already had like over 5 incredible trades during this time. But I kept saying the idea overall though is accumulation in red, and overall take profit is in blue. It starts at $20. So the idea here is that we can still trend up into this area, but just like Bitcoin, a healthy retracement is something I would prefer to see, and it will also allow the RSI to become discounted, and that's going to basically be right here between $16.36 and then $17.60. So this is the support area I'm looking at. It's just a simple retracement from this low to the high, and on top of that, we also have an ascending support line that is, backing up this zone right there. And if you guys, this doesn't really matter too much because it's all just short term noise. But even if you were to do this, because we have a little bit of a wave structure right here where it comes down, corrective move up, and this corrective move is worth mentioning for that extension because it actually came in. As you can see, it came into short-term resistance very, very nicely. So to me, it's valid. So that shows that there's enough momentum to actually push the price into the purple potential area for a higher low. And that's what I'm looking for. This is something that I am very much interested in. We definitely have enough momentum. I mean, we broke over the overall yellow retracement resistance area. We broke over it and found resistance at this bigger picture. So this was kind of the way it was going. And I mean, I've been documenting for this whole time, but basically a nice big picture support line that is now acting as resistance. So we have two things to point out: value gap, resistance, and then the overall support, which is now resistance, acted that way as well. We can easily break it just like we broke this. We can break over it briefly, allowing us to take profit for, the overall accumulation. So this is an accumulation with short term locking in some profit, shaving some shares off of the position, because to lock in profit, there's no reason, not to. And then the rest of the position, it would just be like, for example, accumulating here for a potential higher low for short term, and then overall take profit is $20 and above. So it will be as simple as this too, where we go up, we trade in it briefly above the overall support, which is resistance right now, the white line. And then we're in this area enough time to actually take profit, and then we come back down into an overall retracement. So basically, I mean, let's just say we go up to $20, right? This will continue to hold valid. But it's very likely we'll just break over this swing high and then start to really, really weaken above $21. But that's the idea, guys. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm not rushing any trades here because Mara stock tends to fluctuate very, very aggressively, and it can take back or it can, whatever went into it can be taken back very, very easily. So, any big picture resistance is a really good opportunity in Mara to take shorts. But that's the idea, right? The idea is it doesn't matter if we go higher or not. The idea is that we're going to come down, preferably within this zone I mentioned earlier. And then from there, we can look at some side positions to take advantage of short-term move higher. And then the short-term move higher will have its micro resistances there as well. But again, the idea is that in the short term, we're coming down lower, and then I'm going to keep you guys updated on what I'm looking at within this structure. It's very important to focus on position sizing right now because we can easily break past this area and come back and trade in the low 15s and even in the 14s like we have before. This can all be taken back very, very easily. So right here, this purple area is a higher low opportunity to push the price higher. But position sizing as of right now is very, very important. And as Bitcoin, and it right now is still selling off a little bit. It's holding below the 120 moving average. So if it comes down into this area, which makes sense, that it most likely will to me, it makes sense. That's what I'm waiting on to accumulate here. But the idea is that, and I've said this before, any weakness in Bitcoin, even if it's just short term and it's only like, you know, like $1,000, $2,000, a couple percent, it can amplify in Mar stock very aggressively, and it can easily come down into this area. We can see it as soon as like if Bitcoin stays weak over the weekend, we can see that Monday potentially. But yeah, short term weakness, position sizing very important with the idea of a potential higher low. But as of right now, we got to keep an eye on when the price is trading within this area, what it actually looks like to determine, the likelihood of it, this area is breaking and us coming down into this area. I mean, right now, even Friday was a good opportunity to take shorts. Like we definitely have a lot of weakness. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on the health of this structure. And then we'll go on from there. I hope you guys enjoyed and take care.